We'll see in a second. Okay, there we go.
Are we live?
Yes, we are.
We are live.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the championship match. I looked. This is our 22nd match of volleyball total in this tournament this weekend, which is absolutely crazy. And it's all come down, of all things, to a local Southern California battle between Tier 1's Rising Tide and Tier 2's Rukkus, a rematch of last year's VLA Cup final. I cannot wait to get into this. I'm Rob St. Clair. This is Victoria Dennis. We are live on the VLA YouTube channel for the finals of the 2022 West Division Cup. This is going to be incredible. These two teams haven't yet played in this tournament, but you better believe they know each other very, very well.
Absolutely. They've played each other before. They've been in this finals position before. Both teams looking like well-oiled machines coming into this finals match. It's going to take heart and grit as well as disciplined volleyball.
Absolutely. So both teams coming in undefeated. The Rising Tide have held the #1 seed throughout the tournament. Rukkus staying firm at the #3 seed. Neither have lost a match. The Rising Tide have already played 2 matches today, which is crazy. Their semifinal win over San Francisco Sport Connects was a classic. Rukkus has had a pretty easy path to this point, to be honest, after beating Sport Connects yesterday. So we're just about ready to meet the starting lineups, and we'll get to first serve in just a minute. Thanks very much for watching. Yep. Ready, Michael? See Santa Barbara, #11, Miles Evans. A 6'5" outside hitter from Concordia University, #14, John Bretney. A 6'7" opposite from Long Beach State University, #20, Davis Cannon. And a 6'10" middle blocker from Cal Baptist University, #23, Chris Johnson. Coached by Ryan Windish, managed by Ryan Radira. And on the near side of your screen in white, Southern California's Rukkus. A 6'5" opposite from Pepperdine University, #1, Michael Wexter. A 6'5" outside hitter from the University of Hawaii, #2, James Anastasianis. A 6'5" setter from Brigham Young University, #8, Joe Kaliakamoa. A 6'7" middle blocker from Concordia University, #9, Mark Mitrakos. A 6'7" middle blocker from Utah Valley University, #14, Mark Olson. A 5'11" libero from the University of Hawaii, #21, Garrett Komisarek. And a 6'7" outside hitter from Long Beach State University, #55, Eric Enzing. Rukkus is coached by Stefan Berleg, assisted by Madeline Bustos and Tatum Vetter, and managed by Christy Yanamura. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for this all Southern California affair. Rising Tide for the
Yes.
title. I can't wait for this.
The energy in the gym right now is electric. I think even some guys feeling a little of the butterflies, right? Because they care, because they're ready to compete and they want this title.
And that outweighs even how exhausted these guys are after a very grueling tournament.
Right.
It's come down to this, and the energy is really, really high, and will only continue to get higher.
Absolutely. The endurance to get this far really takes a toll on somebody, but once you make it into a finals match, adrenaline just takes over.
Yes, it does. So this is the last match of the tournament. It's come down to this. 2 undefeated teams, 2 Southern California rivals. Here in SoCal, in Seal Beach at the AIM Sportsplex, it is the finals. Rukkus will start serving in white on the near side of your screen. And it'll be last year's VLA Cup most valuable player, Joe Kaliakamoa, serving first. He has been absolutely the most important player for Rukkus all weekend, continuing to stake his claim for the best setter in the league in any tier. And he is truly the engine of this Rukkus offense, including a very physical presence in the front court.
Right, he seems to do it all, and the blockers on the other side of the net, when he's front row setting, can't take a break. They have to stay engaged and know that he is an offensive threat.
Weapon from the service line as well, and we are underway with a beautiful cross-body put-away. And if you've been watching the Rising Tide throughout this weekend, you've only seen a limited amount of number 5 in blue, Chandler Gibb, into the starting lineup here at the setter position. So Rob Muehi taking a break after playing both matches this morning and getting the Rising Tide to this point. Gibb here serving has outstanding chemistry with all of his former Concordia teammates. Good recycle into the block. Wexter on the left side in rotation 1. Gets Rukkus on the board, and Michael Wexter, number 1 in white. One of the most freakish athletes you will ever see on a volleyball court. James Anastasiadis, number 2 in white out of the University of Hawaii. Such an impressive career resume, including a very lethal jump serve. Predny on the right side in rotation 1, off the hands of his former collegiate teammate, Mark Matrakos, not a play. So a lot of Concordia University Irvine players, mostly on the Rising Tide, but Matrakos as well for Rukkus.
Right, and dating back even further than college, they played against each other in club ball. A lot of these guys on both sides of the net, which is just awesome to see them come from club to college to now professional.
Yeah, it's excellent to see these guys continuing that passion for the game, and the VLA giving them an opportunity to play on a stage like this. Just continues those storylines from players that people have fallen in love with over the years in their previous career. Good rip there from Matrakos into the seam. And Miles Evans, the recently reconverted beach volleyball player, back to the indoor court this weekend, number 11 in blue, with his first kill of the match, the first of many.
Right, it's great to see him put on those socks and shoes, and you know, I guess I do have to poke a little bit of fun of him where yesterday, day 1, he might or might not have forgotten socks.
Only a beach volleyball player would have that problem. Straight down stuff block right there. And speaking of former teammates, Eric Enzing, number 55 in white for Rukkus, was just stuffed straight down by his former collegiate teammate from Long Beach State, number 20 in blue, Davis Cannon. Cannon has had an outstanding tournament, the left-handed opposite for the Rising Tide. Repeat set to Ensing, this time straight over the top of the block, deep cross court. Off the defender and out of play. Excellent response by number 55 in white. So rotation 3 receive here for the Rising Tide. Chris Johnson, a huge presence in the middle, just into the match. Wexter going very aggressive on the serve, handled really well. What a dig by Como. Cannon down the line, what a dig by Como again. And tipped over the top by Ensing for the kill. You have got to be kidding me. I mean, it was only a matter of time until Garrett Komisarek, nicknamed Como, is going to have his fingerprints all over this match, but less than 10 points in, number 21 in red is lighting up the highlight reel with 2 great defensive plays.
Right, and that kid plays with heart and attitude. And you will see him puff his chest this match and chirp away, wears his heart on his sleeve as an athlete, and it's just so fun to see him play.
It is truly, truly fun to watch him play. One of the great difference-making liberos in all of volleyball. And our first of many right there, a setter dump kill from Joe Kawiakamoa. Just so physical, good size, about 6'5", and has played a lot of outside hitter in the last couple years of his career, so definitely an offensive-minded guy. Good rip there by Enzing, absorbed by Predny. Evans chopped over the top of the block, looking for some fingertips. And
looking for a touch,
did
no
not
touch.
catch them. Okay, no touch is the call. Enzing serving again, the older brother of American Olympian Kyle Enzing from this summer's Tokyo team. That looked to catch a piece of the sideline, and yes, it did.
It doesn't get more perfect than that, Rob.
Or does it? That ball called out of bounds. Interesting. That looked, I'm with you, Victoria. I thought that was the perfect serve. Called out of bounds, and Evans back to the line for the Rising Tide. That ball served out of bounds as well.
And Rukkus looking over at them, shaking their fingers. No, no, no. You say our ball is out, we absolutely will say yours is out as well.
Yeah, no challenge system in effect in this tournament, so nothing stopping these guys from perhaps swaying their visual opinions into their team's favor, to put it that way. Good feed to the middle from Gibb to Johnson. And that shows the level of respect that Rukkus has for Chris Johnson, that they had something resembling a triple block up on that middle attack.
I mean, you definitely have to with that athlete, KJ. He just is so physical in the middle, but is dynamic and is smart and reads the set so well and is able to also close his block, as well as always be up in transition.
Johnson back to serve, and that ball destroyed on the left side by James Anastasiadis with a good delivery from Kawiakamoa once again.
I expect both Rising Tide and Rukkus to have lots of middle involvement, helping their pin hitters pull the block. We will definitely be seeing that this game.
Agreed. 4 very good middle attackers on display in this match. What a cover by Enriquez. Beautiful defensive touch by Evans. Dumped over on 2. Como makes the play. Matraco's tipped and handled by Cannon. Good rally here. Evans out of the back row. And the first time we've seen that quick middle back pipe attack, a perfect choice in transition for the Rising Tide. Absolutely.
Smart set by the Rising Tide. There was no block up on that. Blockers were really committed to the outside of middle blocker there. Miles Evans coming out of the back row for that big attack.
Here's Gibb, the new starting setter this match for the Rising Tide. Wexter will do well to keep this ball in play. Yes, he does. Cannon off the block and out of bounds. Davis Cannon has been an outstanding pickup for the Rising Tide this tournament, the big left-hander.
Right, he's such a dynamic hitter. He's smart. He doesn't go for the glorious straight down swings. He sees the ball high out in front of him and is aware where the block is and is able to use it to his advantage.
Very much so. Wexter, beautiful touch by Evans.
The tempo bump set to the outside picked up.
Anastasiadis, beautiful defense there by Gibb. Basically a free ball here for Rukkus. Kawiakamoa to Matracos, and the connection not quite there. Missed out of bounds by Matracos in the middle, and that's a rare mistake for the Rukkus, like basically a free ball offense. You don't see that very much from them.
Right.
Not a good hand pass there by Como. Good high swing by Anastasiadis, slowed down by the block. Beautiful beautiful press by Wexter.
What a lineup. He fronted his hitter and pressed low into that seam, seeing his hitter come in sharp angle. Great read.
Yeah, Cannon thought he had an angle to swing at. Wexter pressed to the inside and took it away from him at the last minute. That's a beautiful move to get Rukkus out of rotation 1. Here's James again. Anastasiadis spent most of his career at the University of Hawaii, mostly in a service sub role. Rarely did he see much minutes as like a 6th rotation outside hitter, so serving has always been a very important part of his game. Ball may have been going out of bounds, played by Ensing, but then hit into the net by Miles Evans. We're gonna have a discussion about this. Rukkus wants a net violation. Back row block is the call. And that makes sense. Kawiakamoa, a back row player, served 1 or 2 rotations ago. They're ruling that he touched the ball on the overpass swing. It looked like he jumped and tried to pull his hands away. And we're gonna have an even more extended conversation about this. Okay,
Definitely. So I think the controversy is Miles Evans wanted to hit that overpass straight down for Rising Tide. Rukkus is saying that he touched the net. Now both refs are down on the floor talking it out with the coaches, so to be determined.
Right, to be determined, just to make we're gonna get some clarity on that, hopefully. I think if Evans touched the net, but Joe Kawiakamoa, the setter who jumped up and pretended to block that, touched the ball, then I would assume the back row blocker violation happened before the net violation. So maybe that's what they're talking about here. Tough to tell.
Tough to tell. We gotta get these refs mic'd up.
We do, that would be awesome.
And some newly added line judges.
Okay, the Rising Tide lead 12-9. That is the correct score. Back to action here. Matrakos out of the middle. Beautiful play by Gibb. What was that from Addison Enriquez? Wexter crushed over the top of the block and down. That was like a flying overhanded slap for a second contact. That was insane.
Make it weird, make it work.
Both teams playing really good defense so far as well. We've seen Chandler Gibbon right back for the Rising Tide. Obviously Como for Rukkus. The defense is inspired here early on in the first set. Cannon is roofed by Ensing. Again, former collegiate teammates doing battle at the net. And they're tied 1-1 in that individual matchup. Ensing victorious that time. And Rukkus is back within 1. Hunter Howell, number 7 in blue, another off-season addition for the Rising Tide. Middle block out of Concordia has also had a really good tournament. Wexter is roofed by Evans. Look how wide Miles' arms were spread on that block.
Right. He took his space quite well, strong, out in front of him. Great lineup on that block.
Ensing on the outside, and 2 blocks in a row for the Rising Tide. That looked like Chris Johnson with Davis Cannon there as well. And KJ, number 23 in blue, probably the most high-level international experience of any player in this tournament, seeing legitimate minutes on real competitions on the USA Senior Men's National Team. That's a really good run there by Mark Olson, number 14 in white. And really contrasting styles in the middle. Chris Johnson just big, long, crazy athletic, polished, high-level experience. Mark Olson out of Utah Valley, a NCVF college club program, and an elite VLA middle blocker in his own right with kind of a unique style. Huge stuff block right there.
Straight down.
Oh, man. Joe Kawiakamoa denting the brand new floorboards here at the AIM Sportsplex. That was massive, and some big-time highlight reel stuff blocks already in this match. 13-15. Johnson, dug by Como. Ensing chopped over the top of the block. Gibb here in transition to Cannon. Beautiful cover by Enriquez. Como makes that play look easy. Olson in transition in the middle. Tipped it out of bounds. Just barely wide of the sideline. Good play there from both teams. A lot of really good defense.
Good play and great call by our newly added lines judge. He's felt very passionate about that call, by the way. He waved that flag.
As he should. Cannon going with the jump float serve, working on Anastasiadis' hands. Wexter out of the back row, chisels through the block and down. Cross court, he puts it away. And both of these teams have D-ball, like back row right side offensive presences that are elite caliber. Wexter and Cannon, sometimes like super high level opposites, almost enjoy coming out of the back row more because they have more space to broad jump, which is crazy to think about. Connection not quite there. Anastasiades is roofed by Johnson. And I think Coach Stefan Brule of Rukkus wants a net violation there, but Evans like leaned into the pole outside the antenna, so that is not a violation to do that.
KJ, after that block, just looks like it's just another day on the job.
Another day at the office.
Turned around, just walked casually to his huddle and be like, yep.
The office. Oh, what a good dig there. Pineapple run down by Ensing. Wow, the confidence of James Anastasiades to take a rip at that ball.
Right, and that's half the battle with these out-of-system swings for these pin hitters. Go up, hit high, and with confidence. Trust yourself.
And James trusts his arm for good reason. He's got a world-class right shoulder on him. Here's Olson with that very unique serve. KJ out of the middle. Slowed down a bit by the block, but not slowed enough. Good one-handed delivery there from Chandler Gibb. Here's KJ from the service line. I assume he's going to go 5-5 at Anastasiades. No, making Ensing work short. Really good serve. Wow! Not only was that swing amazing, but Joe Kawiakamoa's bump set was a really underrated part of that play. Incredible.
Incredible.
Kawiakamoa, or Joe K, as he was called by the BYU broadcasters in college. Going with the jump spin serves here, and misses that one out of bounds.
He's just an all-around athlete, Rob. He really can do it all. You can put him on the pin as an outside. He'll crush balls and put them away, or he can be the QB here, running plays as a setter.
I can watch this guy set the ball all day. And right there, a beautiful high contact point by Michael Wexter again. He practically floats through the air. Like, there are a lot of players in this tournament that jump high, but watching Wexter is there's something different about it. I don't know what it is. We've seen Rukkus in their matches earlier today and in their matches yesterday. They've kind of dialed it back on serving aggressiveness depending on the matchup. Not here. They are totally going after it.
As they should.
Perfect pass by Como.
What a
Straight down, Michael Wexter. What a set from Kawiakamoa that time.
That could not be more textbook middle committed on the outside hitter there as that pass was passed to the left side of the court. Setter running that play, flicking it back to his right side, knowing he had no block up for a straight down kill.
Absolutely beautiful. Just gorgeous. Stuffed block by Eric Ensing, the outside hitter helping to shut down the middle. And a huge play to get Rukkus back within one. 2 big-time momentum plays in a row. Stakes of this match extremely high. And again, this is a rematch of last year's VLA Cup final. Good dig down the line by Joe K. Anastasiades takes a rip at it out of the back row. The confidence on this man. Unbelievable. I thought that bump set was going to touch the ceiling.
Margaret Chacos with a bump set, I think intentionally for the 5, but hey, keeping it weird, keeping it funky. James able to step close to that set and take initiative on that kill.
Ridiculous, just ridiculous. We're tied up at 20. All the drama you could ask for here in set number 1 of the West Cup Finals. Cannon blocked again. This time Olsen takes the cross court away. Rukkus takes the lead and all the momentum, and the Rising Tide knows it. Their first time out of the set. Boy, has this gotten good late here in the first set. We've still got so much more volleyball to watch, and the highlight reel is going to be packed with plays.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we expected this kind of match to happen. Rukkus coming out on a 3-point run.
At least.
Correct? At least,
maybe
yes.
Even 4.
To come back into this game, they're feeling confident, but Rising Tide, they're not stressed. It doesn't look like it at all.
The Rising Tide are an easygoing team. I think Rukkus is an explosive, like energy, intensity sort of team when they really need to be at their best. The Rising Tide are sort of a different style. They like to kind of sit back and not get too stressed out about where they're at in a set. And that takes a lot of mental maturity to do both of those unique styles.
Sure, and it's so fun to see both of those styles and different teams go head-to-head with one another.
Right. Different styles, but a lot of overlap in the backgrounds of these teams and these players. They know each other extremely well. And that knowledge is going to be put to the test here to close out set number 1. 21-20 Rukkus with Matraka serving out of the timeout. Really good pass there by John Predney. Miles Evans down the line, missed it just out of bounds. Good looking swing. We know that Miles likes that high line. We've seen it throughout this tournament. And that's not a bad miss, except for the result. I like the intent, but I expect him to catch the sideline on those plays.
Great run by Mark there at the service line, taking his team back into this sprint of 5 in the first set.
21 serving 22, and Ryan Radira, number 1 in blue, coming off the bench. The backup libero will come in as a service substitute for Hunter Howell. And not a good choice from the service line. You've got to put that ball in play. And Wexter now smells blood in the water. I expect him to go after this serve. Good fight off by Predney. Oh my goodness.
ESPN top 10, mono middle on middle action.
Whoa. Mark Olsen has just put down perhaps the best middle blocker in the entire VLA. One-on-one.
One-on-one, folks. That's an ESPN top 10 play for me right there.
Yeah, we're seeing that on Instagram for the next 6 weeks. 24-21 Rukkus after this second and final Rising Tide timeout. Rising Tide led by 2 to 3 throughout most of this first set, but Rukkus has completely stolen the momentum.
You know, I would say serve and pass here, but honestly, it's defense. It's who's going to block and who's going to dig balls, because we're fully aware that even when these teams are out of system, they still have the confidence and the athleticism to put these balls away. So big defensive plays going to be made on both sides.
Yeah, Offensive firepower in all 5 hitting positions, not an issue for any of these teams. Let's put it that way. Wexter serving for the set. That's a bomb handled beautifully by Evans. Cannon slowed down by the block. Olsen makes the play. Ensing kept alive by Predny. Evans has got to have this point, and he's rejected again. Olsen shuts the door, and Rukkus has sprinted to the finish line. They take set number 1, 25-21.
You know, Rukkus really worked their way back into that game in the last third of this first set. Rising Tide had all the momentum there, but Rukkus just made 1, 2 really key defensive plays to help them take that set.
The blocking really came alive there at the
Absolutely.
end. Now, every point in volleyball is worth exactly 1 point on the scoreboard. In your experience, does a stuff block like that count for just a little bit more?
It should.
It should.
It feels really good when you get it, absolutely.
And it feels demoralizing to be clamped straight down to the floor like the Rising Tide just did like 4 out of the last 5 plays. So that is a hit to their morale and a test to their mental stability as a team.
Sure. I mean, don't take it away from their hitters to come out here and keep taking those big time swings as we look at the cup that is up for grabs.
That is what is on the line, and the celebrations for the winner of this match will start immediately when they go to the scores table to grab that trophy.
Cracking open that brewski, pouring it into the cup in celebration, maybe.
I don't see why not. One more match going on elsewhere in the tournament, by the way. Hawaii's Imiola, which is in kind of the Rukkus organizational network, taking on the Tier 1's Phoenix Ascension. That's a consolation match. Both those teams out of the bracket a little earlier than they wanted to be. But they're playing a consolation match that is available right now, streamed live if you're a member of the YouTube channel. So hit that join button if you want to watch that. But if you're here for the finals, stick around for set number 2 of Rising Tide versus Rukkus.
A lot of sports happening this weekend,
A lot
Rob.
of sports happening.
A lot of nail-biting sports happening this weekend.
This
As
is no exception.
We're checking scores, you know, here and there. A little bit before the match, on my part.
Set number 2 coming your way live from the 2022 VLA West Division Cup Finals. I'm Rob St. Clair, joined all weekend by Victoria Dennis. Chandler Gibb serving for the Rising Tide on the near side of your screen. Good read there by Enriquez to kickstart a transition opportunity. Cannon high flat slowed down by the block and thrown to the floor by Joe Kawiakamoa again. So physical and just never shy about taking the offense into his own hands. Here is Joe K. Float serve this time, working on Evans. Cannon stuffed by Wexter, but good coverage there. Cannon again, this time blocked and cannot be covered. It's a little bit of a lazy offensive play there from the Rising Tide. They need to get out of this rotation, and you gotta wonder if how that set number 1 ended is affecting them mentally. Wexter tipped over the top. Cannon has to send over a free ball. Crossbody by Matrakos, and he missed it just out of bounds.
I mean, as we said before, the refs are letting quite a few things go. In my book, that would have been considered a lift in that transition play.
To their credit, they are calling it the same both ways. A lot of ball handling being allowed to be played on in this tournament. Incredible dig from Predny, but unfortunately into the ceiling.
He just let us know he is not a fan of that ceiling rule.
International rules in the VLA. These ceilings are pretty high, but the guys are bringing the heat. Here's Anastasiades.
But are they high enough for these muscles?
Maybe,
ripping
maybe
at the volleyballs.
Oh, somehow kept alive. But then couldn't be sent over by Anastasiades. And the Rising Tide now side out to get Chris Johnson back into the front court. Not a good pass there. NC will have an out-of-system swing. No, a miscommunication.
Miscommunication across the board there on that play for Rukkus. It's not something that we see very often.
All started with some service pressure, and I don't mean a serve that lights up the speed gun, but this nasty little float serve from Hunter Howell is really effective. Oh my goodness. Chris Johnson. There's just nowhere to go. It's like you're trying to hit out of a phone booth. I would be terrified hitting against that guy.
I guess all you can do is like potentially just hit straight up and then maybe get a finger.
Maybe. Free ball here for the Rising Tide. Johnson is roofed by Matrakos, returning the favor immediately on the next play.
Matrakos has had an insane tournament here both days this weekend. Every single match that he's played in, he truly has made a difference on the court. I also would like to shout out his beautiful mother, Wendy in Vegas. Hello.
Yeah, Mark's been outstanding. Pipe attack to Predney right on the sideline. That's just beautiful. And I knew it was only a matter of time until one of these two teams, or both, started to incorporate that quick pipe attack as a real part of their offense. 5 serving 4 for the Rising Tide, but trailing 1-9. Wexter with some kind of crazy windmill. How does his shoulder not fall off doing that?
Couldn't tell ya.
Here's Wexter after that wacky-looking putaway. This one-on-one, middle-on-middle battle that we're seeing between Johnson and Mark Olson is just so much fun to watch for me. Especially with how that set number 2 ended. We'll see if Olson gets involved in the offense here. Oh my goodness. Miles Evans.
Miles Evans bringing out that nasty right to left cross-court topspin serve that just dropped on that 12-foot line.
That was disgusting. Wow. That time working on Anastasiades, and he shanks it into the ceiling.
2 for 2 here for Miles Evans.
2 aces in a row for Miles Evans. Coming back indoors on one rare occasion, spending most of his time on the beach, the AVP Tour. Might get 3 in a row, and yes,
he'll
he
make
does.
it 3. He will make it 3. Let the other team know. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of cross court, a little bit off the top of the tape.
And a little bit of a Rukkus timeout. Trying to stop the bleeding in this run. 9 serving 5. Miles Evans will continue to go after it out of this timeout.
Right.
Exactly what the Rising Tide were looking for.
Sure, as we said, they're going to keep punching. They're going to play their volleyball, take care of their side, what they have to do. Rukkus will earn their points. They're a great team. They're going to make great plays. But what can Rising Tide do to make sure that they're being efficient on their side and they're executing?
Yeah, they've taken advantage of a couple like less than stellar detail-oriented plays from Rukkus. I usually expect them to be really clean in those areas. But at volleyball at this high of a level, if you get any free balls or pretty good-looking opportunities, you must score on them every time. You just have to take advantage of those chances. Evans doing an outstanding job right now, making the Rukkus serve-receive unit really uncomfortable, which they have not been for much of this weekend. Good timeout there from Rukkus, Coach Stefan Brouet. Well,
classic coaching stat.
Right, give himself a point in the stat sheet for that one. Cannon out of the back row. What a play by Como. Kawiakamoa, dug by Cannon. Cannon can have a swing at this. Off the block and out of bounds. Wow, what a set from John Predney as well. Really bettering the ball on every contact for the Rising Tide. Johnson was a part of that VLA Cup team that lost to Rukkus in the finals for the Rising Tide. Does not want to do that again here at home. Olsen, good block touch there by Howell to slow it down. Evans out of the back row, stepped on the 3-meter attack line as he jumped to go get that ball. That's a back row attack violation. Olsen's going to go to the bench here for a service sub, number 11 in white, Evan La Rochelle, backup libero out of the University of Hawaii. Coming in for Olsen to serve and play some defense. 7 serving 10. Predney absolutely unloads sharp cross court. La Rochelle did what he could, but I don't know if anybody in this tournament's digging that ball.
Yeah, I would say probably not.
And a rare one-on-one, beautiful delivery from Gibb, and Predney said, thank you very much. That was a bomb.
Right. And Evans a great.
Oh, what a play by Gibb. Oh, called down. All 3 officials on the near side had that as down. And Evans is not pleased about that call. However, that shows me that Rising Tide's starting to figure out Kawiakamoa's set or dump. They were closer to defending at that time.
Right.
Howell sharp out of the middle. What a stab by Anastasiades. Cannon, good high swing to get covered. Howell off the block and out of bounds. Really smart volleyball there. Explain what the hitters are doing sometimes when they see two blockers up in front of them. They hit it into the high hands on purpose.
Sure. When you know a team is scouting report, most likely have you covered and have 2 blockers in front of you. You're looking and trying to find ways to score, and that's definitely over or use the block.
Yeah, hitters at this level like to use the block to their advantage. They don't fear it, they don't try to avoid it. And right there you saw a soft, high shot into the block to get it intentionally recovered on their side. Really smart offensive play. 9 serving 13 for Anastasiades of Rukkus.
Point going to Rising Tide, 14 serving 9.
Rising Tide looking pretty nice here in response to what happened in set number 1. 14-10 now is the correct score. Howell with a very good float serve, working on Ensign. Wexter absolutely thrown down the line. And a lift is going to be called. Wow. Our officials setting a precedent that sort of throw of a power tip is not going to be allowed.
You can power tip if you're extended out in front of you. You can't be behind your head and then throw it forward, which on that power tip, he was out in front of it. But the ref has the best view in the house for that call.
True, interesting call. Then Wexter again with an unconventional swing. That time was blocked by Miles Evans. So 16-10 now for the Rising Tide. Not a good pass there by Ensing and fisted to the floor by Cannon.
Rukkus probably looking to call another timeout soon.
Yeah, they've got to settle themselves down emotionally just a little bit and figure out how to get out of this rotation.
Rising Tide taking care of their side of the net, doing their job at each position well.
What a bomb out of the back row by James Anastasiades.
Finding it on the minuscule outside of the block. KJ takes up a lot of space up there in the middle, but James was able to find some space around his block to hit that sideline.
Love that set choice from Kawiakamoa as well. Now 11 serving 17. Perfect pass by Enriquez. Wow, Ensing finds space between that block. The fearlessness to go at Davis Cannon and Chris Johnson like that. Matrakos, who's had a very good tournament, like Victoria was saying, but particularly from the service line. Perfect pass there again. KJ off the block and out of bounds. Ensing there helping, but still couldn't slow down big number 23 in blue. And a substitution in here. This will be very interesting for the Rising Tide. Number 3, Brandon Directo. Kind of an all-world utility player. Backup outside hitter, this time in to serve. But he will not go to the bench for Cannon, so the Rising Tide takes their normal starting opposite out here. We'll see what they do to continue to try and have a right side attacking presence. Maybe they'll run Directo out of the back row. I wouldn't put it past him. Evans will have to run this down and set this ball. Directo with the left hand sends it over. Ensing, beautiful coverage off the block. Sharp cross court and just barely out of bounds. I think that's absolutely the right call. That was a good looking swing from Wexter, just barely missed the sideline. So I think the Rising Tide kind of figuring out on the fly how their transition defense into offense lineup is going to work without Davis Cannon on the floor. Evans to serve here. Olsen with Chris Johnson right in front of him, still finds some space in the deep corner in position 5. Ensing to serve here, and one of the luxuries for the Rising Tide in this configuration is that all 4 of their backcourt players right now can pass the ball. Huge stuff blocked by Kawiakamoa. Oh my goodness. Every time I think we've seen the block of a match, one of these guys just gives us an even better one. It's unbelievable. Oh man. Predney does not get shut down like that very often, a guy with such great vision. Ensing again, Rukkus making a nice little pushback here.
Blockers or attackers will get blocked at any level.
Yes, they will. And that ball tipped out of bounds by Johnson. Rising Tide have got to refocus themselves. They've had a comfortable lead for the past 5 minutes or so. But Rukkus back within 3. This is kind of a scary spot for the Rising Tide. They've got to take care of these next couple side outs. Good rip there from Ensing, passing to the seam by Predney. Olsen, what a dig by Directo. Predney challenges the hands. This is basically a free ball here. Kawiakamoa to Olsen, what a dig! Oh my goodness! Free ball here for Rukkus again. Oh, and finally Anastasiadis through the hands of the block and it deflects out of play. Brandon Directo.
I'm just over here laughing. Are you kidding me with those scoops?
What more can you say?
I mean, he is fired up right now after he got those 2 digs, as anybody would, but off the chest, fearless.
Ridiculous. I mean, if you've watched Brandon play before, then just describing that as a Brandon Directo play will make perfect sense to you. But he's just such a wild card. You have no idea what he's going to do at every given moment, except that it's going to be electric, and that definitely was. Wow. However, Rukkus still wins that point, and they're back within 2. I think 17-19 the score.
Correct.
This has gotten very interesting after the Rising Tide opened up a sizable lead.
I mean, on both sides of the net, these back row defenders are putting on their helmets, Rob.
Yes, they are. The Rising Tide, after taking Davis Cannon, their opposite, out of the lineup, just to probably give him a breather. I assume he's going to go back into the front court when he gets there.
Right.
They've got to figure out a way to have some balanced offense here in these next couple side-out rotations in order for Cannon to come back in. Ensing serving again. Beautiful pass by Evans. Predny, dug by Como. Sent over on 2 by Kawiakamoa. Predny again, tipped over the top. Wexter makes the play. Anastasiades gets the block touch on its way out of bounds. The Rising Tide cannot get out of this rotation, and it is a 1-point game. Ensing again has really done a good job serving to kickstart this run. Another good one. Johnson on the right side. That looked like a block touch to me, and yes, it was. That is the way that the Rising Tide get their right side presence with Cannon on the bench. They just send the middle blocker to go over and hit a high ball. KJ gets it to him off the fingertips. That is a massive play for the Rising Tide. Now 20 serving 18. Good float serve. Wexter out of the back row, misses it short. Was just a quarter of a step too late to high point that ball. The Rising Tide are breathing a big sigh of relief after that point of insurance, for sure. Johnson again. Como somehow able to keep that ball off the floor, but a free ball here for the Rising Tide. Predny on the right side. Interesting configuration for the Rising Tide right now. And a stuff block. Wow. John Predny and Chandler Gibb, outside hitter and setter, switching what pins they were blocking on, making their transition offense something of a wild card, but it pays off with a stuff block. Johnson again. Very interesting there. Olsen tipped out of the middle, blocked by Howell, but kept alive. Good dig there from Directo. Predny got the fingertips. Absolutely perfect high flat shot. What a turnaround for the Rising Tide. 23-18, a 4-0 run.
Middle KJ back to serve.
Tight pass on Anastasiades, gets his ball on the left side, and perhaps assisted by the tape, he gets Rukkus out of that rotation.
Squeaks it through for the side out that they were looking for.
Right. So Rukkus goes on a big run, and Rising Tide answers with one of their own. Now 19 serving 23. Olsen a dangerous server.
Rob, has Rukkus been, in your opinion, running this quick offense to the pins, or they also have been mixing it in those high balls, you know, to put away, give them more time to see the court.
It's a balance, because if you run the offense too slow, then the Rising Tide block has all day, and they have Chris Johnson, one of the best blockers in the game. But if you don't set the ball, if you set the ball too fast, it's not high enough. The hitters don't have all their range. So, of the one person, of the people that I could trust to find that balance, Kawiakamoa is that guy.
Absolutely.
So Cannon back to the front court right now is the opposite, and he's stuffed on the right side and cannot be covered. Cannon has played almost every point of this tournament so far for the Rising Tide, so I can't blame him for taking a couple rotations off. Back into the front court right now. Couldn't put the set away there, but the Rising Tide with set point number 2, receiving 20-24. Howell out of the middle holds the follow through, and that is it.
Dime pass by Evans there with a middle execution. That's exactly what we were talking about at the beginning of this game, getting your middles involved, pulling their blockers, and really utilizing all of your tools in your toolbox.
So the Rising Tide went up early. Rukkus went on quite the run to keep it close there towards the end, but then the Rising Tide responded and pulled away to tie this up at 1 set apiece. We've got at least 2 more sets of volleyball here in this championship match, which already for the Rising Tide is better than when they played Rukkus in the VLA Cup final last year. That was a sweep, and it wasn't particularly close.
I love seeing Rising Tide answer back, playing their volleyball, taking care of their side of the net, and using their bench. As you said, Cannon taking some time off, that's okay. You have the resources. Directo going in, making 2 digs, scoops, in the same rally. I mean, that's what it's about.
That is what it's about. And I like that these teams are starting to really think about how they can utilize every one of their options. Rising Tide going to the bench there with a very interesting configuration, and they struggled with it early and giving up that run, but then it worked tremendously to their benefit as they were able to respond. So curious to see if we see more sorts of things like that as we get into the next 2, maybe even 3 more sets. Just about ready for set number 3. I'm Rob St. Clair. This is Victoria Dennis. Thanks for joining us live on a Sunday afternoon when there's a lot of other sports going on. We appreciate you watching this with us.
It's called multitasking, Rob.
Yes, it is.
They have 2 screens going. We know you have 2 screens.
It's 2022. You've
Absolutely.
got 2 screens. So a tie ball game between these Southern California rivals. Rukkus will be serving on the near side of your screen here with Kaliakamoa to start the 3rd set. And I don't see any lineup changes for either team, as expected. Cannon out of the back row. Beautiful dig by Kaliakamoa. Predny slowed down by the block. Transition opportunity here. Wexter slowed down by the block. Predny will have an out-of-system swing. High fingertips. Oh, able to be rescued. Nice play there. That ball is still alive. Eventually crushed down the line by Michael Wexter. Rukkus wondering in that play about a potential ball handling mistake. But they played on. Good for them for playing to the whistle. They've got to continue to do that. Kaliakamoa is serving again. What a bomb by Predny on the left side. Como's mad at himself for not making that play, but that ball was crushed.
I mean, he holds himself to a very high standard, and that standard is to dig every single ball, which is humanly impossible, but as any competitor would.
Predny, what an unbelievable angle. That's got to be inside the 10-foot line. That was ridiculous.
Rukkus looking at each other like, holy smokes, all right, that's a swing, and we just got to clap that one out, just say, hey, good job.
That was incredible. Gibb doing a really good job at the center position this match for the Rising Tide. He's going to have a transition opportunity. Cannon. Beautiful dig by Kaliakamoa, but the blocker of Rukkus, Michael Wexter, into the net. So good start here for the Rising Tide. On a 3-0 run after losing that first point. Gibbs serving again. Rukkus with a little bit of an issue here getting out of rotation 1. This ball probably going all the way back to Anastasiades. No, Wexter on the left, slowed down by the block, but back to the Rukkus side. Petracco slowed down out of the middle again. Predny, what a cover.
Are you?
Can't believe that's not a lift call. Eventually, Rukkus does put it away on the right side with Anastasiades, but that looked a lot like a catch and throw.
That was absolutely a catch and throw, Rob.
Well, again, to their credit, they are playing it. They are calling it exactly the same both ways.
They're calling it both ways, but
easy serve there from Anastasiadis. Evans out of the back row, missed it out of bounds. That ball maybe set a tiny bit too low for what he was expecting. So Rukkus ties it up at 3 apiece. Anastasiadis back to serve once again. Wexter slowed down by the block. Good high touch, but Gibbs out of the play. Cannon, the left-hander, tipped over the top. Tipped into the block, but eventually not able to be kept alive by the rising tide. And now they're in a little bit of a rotation one-trap situation with Cannon on the left and Predny on the right. They're struggling to get this side out. What a pass, absolutely perfect. Tipped over the top, that ball definitely down to the floor. And a nice off-speed choice there by Hunter Howell. Most of the time when we see middles go off speed, it's on accident because they like just get a fingertip on the ball or something. But that
smart play.
Yeah, an intentional tip, and it worked to perfection. Predny misses that one out of bounds down the line, and Rukkus retakes the lead. Here's Matrakos. What a set! But Evans missed it just out of bounds long again. That is a great set choice from Chandler Gibb. But the execution on the swing just barely not quite there. 6-4 Rukkus. That's a huge break for them. Don't be surprised if Gibb goes right back to that pipe attack. Right on cue, this time had to be tipped. Ensing wins the joust. Gibb able to keep it alive, and a hittable ball for Evans. He tips it to the floor. That was incredible. I don't know how Chandler Gibb was able to fling that ball to the outside. Wow. Chandler, the nephew of the great American beach volleyball player Jake Gibb, who I hear was coaching here in the AIM Sportsplex yesterday, coaching a boys team, which is pretty cool.
It's always a family affair in volleyball.
Almost always. Had a system opportunity here. Evans rolled into the block, and he is shut down by Wexter and cannot be covered. That roll shot might work on the beach, but here in the indoor, the guys hang in the air just a little bit longer. Wexter back to serve.
As well as your time to react. You're not running on the sand, you're on hardwood,
Good
right?
point. Serve barely kept alive. Rukkus here with an opportunity in transition, hammered by Kawiakamoa, but dug. Kawiakamoa again. Sharp cross court plus a net violation. And
Rising tide with that scoop dig on that option ball play. That was a jump pass by the middle to his setter to put that ball away on an option play.
They know that Kawiakamoa wants to rip on two. They
Right.
want to give him the choice. I love it.
Rising tide just sticking limbs out there left and right. Maybe they'll touch something on that. And they did.
They did, exactly. I think they're getting better and better per attempt at defending against the setter on two in all of its various forms. They're slightly improving with how they're defending against that. Olsen out of the middle. The connection not perfect, but still good enough to score on the 31. Nine serving 6 for Eric Ensing, who had the huge run for the Rising Tide, or excuse me, for Rukkus to get back into that second set before the Rising Tide ultimately pulled away. Not to be this time. So we saw Miles Evans having a lot of success with that serve in the second set. This time, very conservative with the jump floater. And Olsen off the fingertips of the block and right on the end line. Why do you think Miles went with the float serve that time?
He was probably trying to place it exactly, where he wanted to, a different look.
Olsen does not have an easy serve in his arsenal. He's going after this one. Handled really well by Rukkus' hands. Predny through a small seam in the block. And he continues his outstanding tournament. Predny, a big part of the reason why the Rising Tide are undefeated so far. Oh my goodness. Joe Kawiakamoa, that is absolutely filthy. Downright filthy, especially with no libero on the floor. That's sick.
That is nasty. As the fans in the stands here clap on that on both sides.
Yeah, oohs and ahs for that play. That's just gorgeous. Cannon out of the back row is clamped by Anastasiades. With Matrakos there as well.
James walking into the huddle saying, thank you, I'll take a bow.
12 serving 8. The slide in men's volleyball. Who says you can't run the slide? Hunter Howell running behind the setter off of 1 foot. And that looked convincing. They've practiced that before. They had to have practiced that before.
They must have. They're laughing through the net as Rukkus is laughing back.
I don't think Rukkus expected to be defending any slides in this match, so good choice. What on earth did Joe K just do with his hands to set that ball? Another free ball for Rukkus. Tipped into the block, Enzing makes the play in coverage. Crazy scramble here. This will be Anastasiades on the right side off the head of the blocker, but still kept alive. Smart volleyball, keeping the ball in play. Maybe Cannon can have a swing to score. Another good reset into the block. Predny eventually rejected by Anastasiades, but I think that got mostly the top tape. But a long rally and perhaps a little bit of exhaustion starting to set in for these two teams. It's been a long tournament. Already the Rising Tide's third match of the day.
Right.
Even though their first match this morning against the West Coast Brigade was the classic hour and a shower, 3 sets to none sweep, but these two teams have grinded it out all weekend long. Good pass right there. No, actually overpassed and then hit out of bounds, I believe, by Matrakos. He wants the block touch. None detected by any of our 4 officials, and I didn't see it either. So a big missed opportunity there. You usually see an overpass being an automatic point, but the Rising Tide were fortunate to take that one. Predny back to serve, trailing by 3. That might be an ace serve, and yes it is. Right into the seam between Como and Anastasiades. Perfectly located.
Great serve. Very hard ball to pass as it didn't start to curve until after it crossed the tape.
That's vicious. Let's see who he goes after this time. Maybe Enzing down the line. No, back to James, right on the net. One-handed dish from Kawiakamoa. Just beautiful. And the back row setter, he couldn't dump that ball. He had to set one of his teammates. And he
There's no such thing as an overpass.
That's right. He could have tied his left hand behind his back and still run the offense with 4 options. Awesome play there. 14 serving 11. What a dig by Wexter. Is that a dig kill? Yes, it is. You've got to be kidding me, Michael Wexter.
It's the back pedal on your heels, low scoop over the net for a kill.
Off blocker defense. Boys and girls, youth volleyball players, take notes on that. Wow, 15 serving 11. Crushed on the left side by Evans, and a very rare incorrect read by Mark Olsen left a one-on-one situation. we really have barely seen any one-on-ones. These middle blockers have been phenomenal at getting to the pins.
Very disciplined in their movement, great eye work. I mean, nothing but fantastic things to say about all 4 middles playing in this finals match.
Overpass forced by the float serve of Howell. Gibb, Johnson, crossbody dug by Wexter.
What a touch on that block.
Evans tipped over the top, and Kawiakamoa diving, can't quite get there with the pancake play. Really good off-speed choice. And
Evans saw two humans,
oh, yeah.
4 hands in front of his face and made the right choice on that tip.
And he's taken his sweet time to remember that when you come back indoors, you're allowed to open hand tip the ball.
Right.
Not the case on the sand.
No. It's a little nice.
It's a luxury. So Rising Tide mounting a little bit of a comeback here. Howell has been an underrated float server in this tournament. Good pass there by Ensing. Wexter on the right side, down the line. Just beautiful. Such a good delivery from Kawiakamoa. It's the Rukkus bench is just laughing. They're laughing at how good that is. And so am I. That's amazing. And Wexter looks to be really running out of gas in his legs. Going to go to the bench here with Luis Palos, number 10 in white, coming in as a service sub, and he'll play the opposite spot in the back row. Palos out of Cal Baptist University before that program was cut a couple years ago. Cannon absolutely unleashes the cannon on the right side. We can't go a match without making that joke about his name. I mean, he's literally got a cannon for a left arm.
I mean, he comes out firing, Rob, if you ask me. Haha.
Yeah, good one. Speaking of cannon, he goes back to the bench here. So Brandon Directo in for Davis Cannon in the backcourt. We saw this same thing in set number 2, and now the Rising Tide maybe a little bit more prepared for it. And that was that classic wacky, deceptive Mark Olson run. Like running
Also, KJ in the middle just standing, putting his hands up, seeing what he can do.
Deflected what would have otherwise been a straight down bounce ball, so Rukkus still takes the point. They lead by 3. Evans going back to the jump spinner this time. Okay pass from Como. Gotta go to Anastasiades. And a huge stuff block there. James tried to challenge the seam between Gibb and KJ. And if you're hitting the ball anywhere near Chris Johnson's direction, that very well may end up being a mistake. 16 serving 17, Rising Tide back within 1. Another good serve. Oh, good defense there from Directo, but not able to be run down on the second contact. Another successful setter throwdown from Kawiakamoa.
Somehow finding it past KJ's block there in the middle.
Yeah, KJ was there. He knows what Rukkus wants to do in that rotation, or in any of the 3 rotations. Evan La Rochelle, once again, the backup libero, in off the bench to serve and play some defense for Mark Olson, number 11 in white. Float serve working on Evans. Predney through the block of Metrakos. It might have gone right between his hands. Ensing couldn't come up with it defensively. The quick reactions that these middle blockers are making are truly unbelievable. Like, that was a perfect pass, and you have Chris Johnson that you have to respect in the middle. But Metrakos was still able to put up a pretty good block on their right side. He just got kind of unlucky. Good play there. Directo keeps it alive. But a free ball opportunity. Kawiakamoa turns and burns. That just hammered with his right arm that time on 2.
Running that free ball play that they absolutely take advantage of.
Really, in these rotations for Rukkus, now you have 5 attackers with only 3 blockers. And Palos remains in the front row at the opposite for Rukkus. Gets his ball on the outside. Oh my goodness. What is going on? Every time we see an even better stuff block, like John Predney, there has to be a crater in the court right now. We might need to move courts so we don't have any tripping hazards. That was ridiculous. What a left-handed press. 18-19. Anastasiades, this time I believe off the head. of Predny blocking, who's staring through the net. He can't believe that he didn't get a second clamp in a row. 20 serving 18. Rotation 1 receive here for the Rising Tide with Davis Cannon back in. Overpass there off the tape. Where does Kawiakamoa go? Matraco slowed down out of the middle. What a set by Joe K. Good defense though from Gibb. Predny taking the setter out of the offense. Palos is rejected. And Luis Palos coming in off the bench. Traditionally an outside hitter, good size at 6'7", but he is in as the true opposite right now for Michael Wexter. And we'll see how much firepower on that right side Rukkus loses with that substitution.
His teammates telling him to keep swinging.
Oh yeah, you have to, absolutely. Good repeat set there, and Palos finds some really nice space, sharp cross court. Excellent repeat set there from Kawiakamoa. Victoria, you were a professional level outside hitter. If you get blocked or make an error, you want the ball again right away.
Absolutely.
I think every hitter does. That serve missed short by Matracos, and going to be a very interesting conclusion here to the third. 20 serving 21 for the Rising Tide, with Ryan Radera, the backup libero, coming in for Hunter Howell to serve and play some defense. And Howell's serve has been good, but Radera really adds something as a defender. You got to serve this ball in bounds, though. He does, working on Ensing's hands. Palos again down the line off the fingertips of the block of Evans and out of play. I think Evans, while making that move, knew that he was going to get beaten down the line and drifted a little too far to the outside.
Yeah, he was probably trying to get a solid touch on that block, and Rukkus was able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, good vision there from Palos, and he goes back to serve. Let's see what he goes with. He's got a very capable jump spin. Good rip there, handled really well by Enriquez. KJ out of the middle, slowed down, and thrown to the floor. Joe Kawiakamoa gets his own rebound, and the physical front row center again with a huge impact for Rukkus. They lead now 23-20. The Rising Tide taking a timeout. What a battle.
What a battle. I mean, both teams are going point for point. It was 14-14, and then we had 17-17, and we're coming into the home stretch here in the third set. Rob, what do you expect from Rising Tide out of this timeout?
So they're in a couple weird rotations here in a row. They've got to figure out where their offense can go to get a little bit of an advantage. And if it happens that Rukkus gets into transition, they have to be able to slow Kawiakamoa down. In the front court right now, he's honestly their #1 offensive option, which is crazy, but that's true for a setter. But like in terms of hitting percentage, he has to be the best on the team. So right now you got Gibb in the back row with KJ, Evans, and Davis Cannon. So 3 very good options plus Predny in the back row. So Rising Tide has now talked it out about where they want to go to get out of this rotation. We'll see if they can execute. Perfect timeout. Perfect timeout for the Rising Tide. Triggers a service error. Cannon staying in the backcourt this time. Oh, beautiful play defensively. Gibb, the setter, tipped over the top. Palos out of the back row. Sharp cross court through the block of Johnson. And then enormous put away right there for Rukkus to bring up their set point. And the Rising Tide, with a timeout remaining, they might as well use it here if they've got a chance to make this comeback. Timeout number 2 facing against set point, 24-21.
Right, never say die, Rob, right? We've seen it time and time again in this tournament, a team being down and then coming back out of a timeout. I would not be surprised if Rising Tide were able to do that here.
Yeah, very possible. You've got to side up this ball first. Then you've got to figure out a way to manufacture some points on your serve. But right now, you know that all they're talking about is siding up this first ball.
Right.
We have seen some comebacks this weekend.
They have KJ on the court in the front row. I would not be surprised to see the ball go to him here on a good pass.
No easy task in passing the serve of Eric Ensing. He's been very good from the service line this weekend. Another great timeout. 2 late timeouts for the Rising Tide, 2 service errors. But that's the easy part. Now you got to get 2 points on your serve to force extras. It's got to start with defending Joe Kawiakamoa. Set point number 2 for Rukkus. Como makes the play off the tape. Anastasiades for the set. Rattles through the hands of Chandler Gibbon, out of play, and that is it. 25-22, Rukkus are on the doorstep of winning this 2022 VLA West Division Cup. They take a 2-1 lead.
Right, it's going set back and forth as the fans here walk by and joke around with us. Yeah, it's just good volleyball, Rob.
It's great volleyball. Great volleyball. The level is extremely high. And my question is, does Rising Tide have enough gas left in the tank? Because if they're going to win this tournament, they've got to win this 4th set, and they've got to figure out a way to get to 15 in the 5th. But it starts here in the 4th. And Rukkus with a little bit more depth, more guys on the roster. You saw them go to Luis Palos at the opposite there. Do the Rising Tide have enough gas left in the tank?
I think they do. I think both teams have played their fair share here in this tournament, but it's how do we on our side control the ball? And you can only control what you can control, right? So that's your serves, that's your talk on the court. There's multiple variables happening at once in the sport amongst others. And, you know, it's just being able to control your side and taking it 1 point at a time.
Yep, the Rising Tide are looking to do just that. We'll see what they continue to do with their lineup in various configurations, taking out Davis Cannon, bringing in Brandon Directo. We'll see what Rukkus does with their opposite position. There's still a lot of volleyball left to be played. The Ascension versus Imiola match has finished. All the juniors courts here in the AIM Sportplex have concluded. This is the only volleyball happening in this gym, and everybody here knows it. All eyes on the finals. Set number 4 coming up between Rukkus and the Rising Tide. For the first tournament win of the season. The VLA Cup series, something the league's very excited about this year. Got the West Division Cup, the Central Division Cup in Chicago in March, the East Division Cup in New York in April, and then the big one, the VLA Cup, a 20-team massive event in Indiana in May. This will set the tone for all of that. Set number 4 underway. Chandler Gibbs serving for the Rising Tide on the near side of your screen. And a very good swing by James Anastasiades. Taking advantage of a little bit of space inside the block. And interestingly here, Miles Evans has moved to the opposite position. Davis Cannon to the bench. John Predney and Brandon Directo now the full-time outside hitters.
Directo, talk about hang time, right? He comes in and he can hit at such a high contact. I expect good things from him coming off the bench.
As do I. You also have a luxury here in rotation 1 with Evans, a natural outside hitter on the left. That is a beautiful swipe right there. James Anastasiades flinging that ball off the block and out of bounds. And there was a play earlier, I believe in set number 2, where Michael Wexler got called for a throw on a power tip, and that one, I think, just now came off a lot faster out of his hand, which is why it wasn't called. Evans challenges the double block, finds some lines somehow. Free ball here for the Rising Tide. Howell cross body. Can't be kept alive. And the Concordia University Irvine connection is very strong in this roster. Gibb, Howell, Predney, Enriquez, all Concordia alums. Rotation one receive. Michael Wexter back in at the opposite for Rukkus. He's on the left side right here. Anastasiadis gets this ball. What a save by Predny. Incredible rundown. Anastasiadis again. Beautiful block touch by Directo. Oh, but a stuff block ends it for Rukkus. That was some unbelievable defense from the Rising Tide.
Absolutely. Claps being thrown on both sides.
Incredible.
The fans loved it. Both benches loved it.
And that's what you get with Directo, and you can move pieces around a little bit more. Your defense increases ever so slightly, but they've got to find a solution.
Backhanded digs happening here from John, number 14.
Got to have a solution for a right side scoring presence, though, so Evans will be called upon to be that guy. Good touch there from Howell in the middle. Sent over on the second contact. Ensing here will have an out-of-system swing. Kept alive easily by Enriquez. Evans on the right side, chopped down the line. Way too easy for Como, but back to the Rising Tide side. Pipe attack to Predny. Absolutely beautiful. I love that set choice from Gibbs so much. Great choice. Even as these guys continue to grind, the level of this match remains extremely high. Chris Johnson in the front court, where he will have an impact. Directo, a much smaller blocker against the very threatening Michael Wexter, but one of the springiest and most dynamic players in all of volleyball. I don't care what his height on the roster says. Right on cue, Directo with a really good block touch against Wexter. Bick again to Predny, but able to be kept alive. Good dig there from Como. Johnson out of the middle, dug by Como again. Unbelievable volleyball. Unbelievable. Just incredible. That is as good of a swing as Chris Johnson can put out there. And he's one of the best in all the game. Como just ate it alive, put it up straight up in the air. And Rukkus takes advantage cross court on the outside. Just incredible volleyball right there.
The kid's a freak, libero, Rob.
Mark Matrakos, the middle blocker, with Olsen in the front court. Out of system swing coming here from Evans on the right side. Rattles through the block, kept alive. Wexter smartly wrist away off Directo and out of bounds. No Davis Cannon right now for the Rising Tide. Miles Evans moving over to the right, but fatigue looking to be setting in for him as well. So much volleyball. I can see he's got his hands on his knees just trying to survive out there. They need him to score points. Crush Johnson. Unbelievable defense again. A centerline violation or a net is the call against Rukkus. That is really good blocking there from Brandon Directo to not get used by that Michael Wexter tip. Really good discipline.
Right, he saw him come in. He wasn't really able to create a full arm swing going in with that tip, and Directo recognized that early.
Very important point there for the Rising Tide. I know it's early in set number 4. They cannot afford to dig themselves any deeper of a hole. Already down 1 set to 2. 3 serving 5. Here for Evans. The outside hitter turned opposite here in the 4th set. Almost gets lucky with a tape ace. And somehow Mark Olsen finds some space in between the blockers. Johnson and Gibb looking at each other like, how on earth did that ball get through our hands?
He was looking at both of his hands, making sure they were still there.
Like the old baseball play, you check if there's a hole in your glove.
Exactly.
Had a gator pass there from Predny. Good swing by Directo. Wow, what a bailout play from number 3 in blue. High flat into the hands of the block. Gets a good deflection on his side, wide of the sideline. Important play there for the Rising Tide after a pretty tough pass. Ensing, deep cross court again. Not at all afraid of the block of Chris Johnson. And that's just perfect location. There's really no defense for that. If you can hit the ball 2 feet inside the end line, 2 feet inside the sideline, you're going to score a lot of points.
Absolutely. These great players are going to make great plays, right?
That is a great one right there. Enzing back to serve. Proving that his little brother is not the only great volleyball player in the family. Ooh, I like that idea from Predny. I like that disguise, but he just barely missed it short on the last second off speed.
It's really easy to overthink the little things out here, Rob, sometimes saying, you know, oh, I could have done this on defense against that swing or this or that. But good players are going to make good plays. And sometimes you just got to say, hey, that's a great swing. Congratulations.
Yep.
And then move on to the next play.
And that ball missed out of bounds by Johnson in the middle, a rare error for him. And the Rukkus lead is 5, 9 serving 4. The question has been, does the Rising Tide have enough gas left in the tank? And so far some doubts as to the answer to that question here in the 4th set. But they do get out of that rotation there. Good flat float serve there from Johnson. Anastasiadis on the left side, blocked but covered. Kawiakamoa on 2. In case there was ever any doubt about where this guy's head is at, score points. I don't care what position I'm in, outside hitter, setter, whatever. My team's gonna score when I have the ball in my hands. That's what Joe K thinks all the time. Here's Olsen. Misses that one just out of bounds. There's that hybrid serve that we've talked about a little bit this weekend. It's really weird. I don't really know how to describe it. He tosses it with 2 hands with no spin, then goes up and hits it like with some odd funk to it. I don't know how to describe it. It's
almost like
cool.
a down ball.
Yeah. Beautiful offense right there. Matrakos over the top of a good-looking double block. The Rising Tide starting to fear that they may have seen this movie before. In last year's VLA Cup final, they saw this Rukkus team, and in a tight battle that ended up being a 3-set loss, they walked away in 2nd place. They do not want to do the same here. Good read against the off-speed of Wexter. Predny down the line on the right side, missed it out of bounds. I like that choice, but too much wrist-away side spin.
Miles Evans pulling his hands down, recognizing that tip was going right to his middle to pick up. Great shoulder mobility.
Indeed. Smart shot. What a pickup from Kawiakamoa. That's crazy. Good high ball rip there, kept alive by Enzing. And a net violation against the Rising Tide. This is very concerning for the #1 seed in this tournament, the Southern California Rising Tide. Down 13-6 in the 4th, down 2-1, having to dig deep and make a comeback that they just might not have the fuel to make.
I mean, Rukkus, their offense is very crisp right now. They're going on an insane serving run. Rising Tide coming out of this timeout is looking for a first ball side out. How they can do that is just lifting the ball high for their setter to get to, maybe setting high and off the net a little bit, giving their hitters enough time to reach high over the block instead of running a faster offense.
That's the thing, though, is that Rukkus has been doing such an unbelievable job defensively. Like that last play by Kawiakamoa down the line, nobody makes that play. It's crazy. So the Rising Tide are expecting those plays to score, because they usually do. And then unfortunately, like for Rukkus is scooping them off the ground and they're running them back down their throats in transition. It's unbelievable.
Right.
And so
defense is really the main.
Yes.
The main juice to the orange? Is that a saying?
Okay, I kind of like it.
That's not a saying.
It is now.
Okay, great. Trademark.
Kawiakamoa serving again. Rotation 1 receive here for the Rising Tide. They must side out this ball. Howell, power tipped, handled by Como. Wexter on the right side, covered again. There it is from John Predny on the right, puts it away deep cross court. I don't know when the last time was we saw Michael Wexter actually take a swing at a ball. everything in the last set and a half or so has been off speed.
Right.
Do you think the Rising Tide block and defense are just going to adjust to that? Like, just let him have it. Let him throw the ball wherever he wants. Don't give him a platform to use, perhaps?
Maybe, you know, I think they shouldn't differ from what they've been doing just because he does one thing different. Make him do it again, and then, okay, now we'll adjust.
Serving 7. Rukkus doubling up the Rising Tide in this championship match. That's an overpass. Free ball opportunity here. Wexter, that time with a more conventional swing. Finds some space in between the blockers and puts it away deep cross court. Serving 7. Anastasiadis looking to do some damage. No reason not to go after that one with this lead. And right on cue, he rips an ace off Brandon Directo's platform. I just don't know at this point, Victoria, if the Rising Tide has what it takes to make this comeback. Down 8 points, and even if they're able to do that, which would be a miracle, then they have to go play a 5th set. Mentally, how do you approach that?
I mean, just one point at a time, one play at a time. Like this, side out.
Great
Good
swing
swing
there by Directo off the fingertips. He has absolutely no intention of hitting the ball on the court on that play. He's trying to basically hit the ball to the back wall, but get it deflected by the block on its way. Good read there on the inside set on the right side, but another opportunity here for Wexter. Another off-speed shot kept alive nicely. Johnson crushed cross-body out of the middle, and that will help. Nice point on serve there for the Rising Tide. If I'm Chandler Gibb right now, I'm setting Chris Johnson every conceivable ball. Why not?
Fair enough.
You've got so much exhaustion and fatigue at the pins. Oh, what a stab by Howell. Incredible touch. Ensing, good block touch there from Evans. How did Directo find that angle? And how did Anastasiadis run it down? Free ball here. Evans rolled, Kauyakamoa makes a diving play. But right through the hands of Eric Ensing. And another point on serve for the Rising Tide after a crazy rally.
What an athletic swing by Directo there.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Like a good, almost by the ref stand, he was able to find a sharp cross-court angle inside the antennas. Howell, been one of the Rising Tide's best servers in terms of scoring points in his rotations. Good read there. But somehow the attack of Anastasiadis finds its way through the 3-man block and is good enough to score. Rising Tide were there, but they still couldn't stop it. 17-10. Rukkus is closing in.
At this point, Rob, both teams have had such an amazing tournament. Great volleyball on both sides. Very dynamic teams. Battled their way here into this finals match. All around, great job. Hats off to both of these teams thus far.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, the volleyball this weekend's been absolutely incredible. I know it's been a grind for all these teams to play so many matches. The format's been the same for everyone, and that's what it's going to take to win these tournaments. Cannon for the Rising Tide back into the match at the opposite. And that blocked and can't be covered. So
Directo
Evans,
flying around all over there.
He is flying around trying to make plays in coverage. But the Rising Tide just do not have enough fresh bodies on the wings, at least at the moment. Cannon back in off the bench, Evans to the bench. But even Cannon still gasping for air with his hands on his knees. Good set to Johnson, and he finds his way through the block and down. Luis Palos once again in at the opposite for Rukkus, number 10 in white, replaces Michael Lexter. And now all Rukkus needs to do is focus on a couple side outs. They have enough of a lead right now, but they don't need to worry about scoring on their serve. That is a reaching over the net violation against Kawiakamoa, the setter. So the call is that he went over and touched the ball while it was still fully on the Rising Tide side. 12 serving 18. Ensing, good block touch there by Gibb. Predney out of the back row, beautifully in transition.
That's a great swing there, Rob.
It's perfect.
Yep.
It's perfect. It's a great set choice. And Cannon continuing to put these balls in play on the float serves. 2 consecutive pretty good service rotations for the Rising Tide, but is it too little too late? That's the question. Tough pass from Anastasiades. Directo can have a swing at this. Somehow gets his feet to the inside. Johnson straight over the top, still kept alive. Palos dug by Cannon. This is going to Directo again. Blocked one-on-one by Palos. Just everything going Rukkus' way right now.
But that's that Rukkus defense that we've been reiterating time and time again. They just are not letting any ball touch the floor.
It's so difficult to score against them. It's nearly impossible with all the balls that they're able to touch in both block and backcourt defense.
Rising Tide, their defense also is giving their hitters the opportunity to attack, but Rukkus is just there on defense.
Always in the right spot. Always in the right spot, and their blockers make such great reads. 14 serving 19. Rising Tide doing a good job chipping away at this lead, but in order to not run out of time, they got to keep doing work in every rotation. And that is a perfect first ball side out, delivered by Eric Ensing down the line. Excellent delivery from Kawiakamoa as usual. And now SoCal's Rukkus is 5 points away. Good pass by Enriquez. Cannon out of the back row, missed it out of bounds. Cannon thought he got a piece of the corner there. That ball called out of bounds. And Ensing goes back to the service line again, the lead back up to 7. Now the Rising Tide are really running out of time. Gibb tries to go over on 2. This could generate a free ball for the Rising Tide, and even better, Kawiakamoa tried to be a little too slick, sending that ball over short. And it does not make it back to the Rising Tide side. Let's see if KJ's got some magic in that right arm of his from the service line. Good cover there again. Paulo sends it over. Howell tipped under the block and covered again. Predney, sharp cross court against one blocker, and he puts it away. And the Rising Tide are making a little push back here in their service rotations, getting a point here, 2 points there. But now, in a sense, it's a race against the clock. Rukkus only needs 4 points left to win this entire tournament. Good block touch there, Directo in exactly the right spot. Cannon, stuffed by Olsen. Beautiful handwork by number 14 in white. And that was a ball that I think the Rising Tide had to have if they're gonna have any chance to make this comeback. Rukkus now 3 points away. Evan La Rochelle coming in again off the bench to serve in place of defense for Mark Olsen. The slide, Hunter Howell chops it cross court. What a stick by Enriquez. Howell able to run it down, and even a hittable ball for Directo. Good read again on the center dump. This would be a crazy point if the Rising Tide got it. And they almost do. Another pancake play. Center dump is rejected. James Anastasiades not fooled by the Chandler Gibb reverse dump. And now it's 23-16. This could be it, Victoria.
Yeah, Rob, Rukkus has had an insane tournament. They've really have everything they need to succeed as a team. Nonetheless, great tournament for all teams here this weekend playing in the VLA. It's been a lot of exciting volleyball, great athletes in the gym, giving it their all and really putting on a show.
Yeah, a lot of Tier 2 teams making their VLA debuts in this tournament. First opportunity to see the West Division Tier 1 teams in action this year, really setting the tone for the whole VLA Cup tournament series. This weekend's been a huge success, but only one team can win it. And Rukkus with 7 opportunities to win this match on their serve. Joe Kauyakamoa, of course, has the honors. Howell blocked out of the middle, kept alive. Cannon chopped down the line, and one set point is saved off the defense and out of play. Match point even. Now it's all up to John Predney. This would truly be a miracle, and Predney's had an unbelievable tournament this weekend. Match point number 2. Good move by Como into the seam. Anastasiades for the match, through the block, kept alive by Directo, but absolutely buried sharp cross court right on top of the net, and James Anastasiades has delivered Rukkus their second consecutive VLA Cup tournament win in 2 tries. The West Division Cup is theirs.
Congratulations, Rukkus. Amazing volleyball played this weekend. Well-deserved win. Congrats on winning the cup.
Tremendous performance by both these teams. Rukkus wins their second consecutive VLA Cup tournament in unbelievable fashion, undefeated. They were pushed to the limits by the Rising Tide here in this final, but the number 1 seeds from Tier 1 just eventually just ran out of gas. And the cup belongs to Rukkus. Incredible, incredible weekend. What a way to finish it out.
I'm going to go run and grab our MVP.
Please do. Here, take this.
Congratulations. Wow, what a tournament for Rukkus. You leading the way here, not as just the quarterback setter running the plays on the court, but you are an offensive threat. What is your mindset coming into this tournament, and were you fully confident in winning it?
I mean, I trust all my guys. I mean, I can kind of feel the love back at me. So, I mean, I want to make sure that I'm part of the team, bringing it with them, kind of attacking, right? I mean, I love to attack. And I just want to help them out too. I mean, these are gruesome tournaments. So, I mean, anything I can do for them, and it's kind of win-win for us.
It is a long way to the podium, right? How do you as a team collectively talk to each other, set to set, point from point, really encouraging each other?
I mean, we really just try to stay positive. I mean, sometimes it feels like we're a little bit too positive, so we might have to change that. But But I mean, overall, we kind of know the goal. Like, we know what we're supposed to be doing here. So it's kind of just easy to kind of trust each other. I mean, that's what we figured out this tournament, was really how to trust each other, because we're kind of coming from everywhere. We haven't really played together, so we're thankful for this opportunity to kind of figure that out now.
Having that trust that you learned this tournament, moving forward after winning this beautiful trophy, how does the team camaraderie feel just with this cherry on top?
I mean, it's always awesome winning, right? So, I mean, just that trust, really, we're like a family. I mean, that family is really strong, and we've always been like that when we were with Rukkus. So, I mean, we're really appreciative of Christy and what she does for us and gives to us, kind of the recovery stuff, all the things that she kind of like a mom, right? She's like a mom for us. So, I mean, it's really easy to kind of love each other. We kind of like that love here in this gym.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That will do it, ladies and gentlemen, from the VLA West Division Cup. My name's Rob St. Clair. Big thanks to Victoria Dennis for joining me throughout this weekend. Victoria's right here. There she is. Great job. KJ, well done, my friends. Tremendous thanks to our production team this weekend, Michael Wooten, Eric Wooldridge. These two guys have been instrumental in increasing the production value of this tournament. The VLA is setting a new standard for professional volleyball in the United States. We're so excited about what we're able to accomplish this weekend. The next event on the calendar, 2 weekends from now, the East Division gets underway with a Tier 1 regular season event in Connecticut, followed by these Western teams back in action in Phoenix, Arizona. So a lot more VLA volleyball coming your way this year. Subscribe here on the YouTube channel, website, Instagram, all the various places that you can find info about the VLA. My name's Rob St. Clair, signing off from Southern California. We will see you next time.